She made us laugh. She made us cry. For more than 5 decades, Sally Field gave her everything to Hollywood. From Gidget to Norma Rae to Forrest Gump. She embodied fire, elegance, and honesty in every performance. But now there's hushed conversation behind the scenes. There are whispers that Sally is dealing with a major illness. Her health is becoming an increasing concern. Fans who have adored her for years are really concerned. So, what's actually going on? Is Sally Field bidding farewell to the spotlight? From her terrible history to her most recent devastating update. Join us as we find the truth behind Sally's most challenging chapter yet. Behind that emotional recollection lies a lady who was quietly suffering, not only from that day, but also from an ongoing health condition, which she would eventually discuss publicly. Health struggle. In 2005, Sally Field was diagnosed with osteoporosis. It's a bone disorder that makes bones fragile and prone to breaking. But, at first, she had no idea she had it. In an interview with WebMD, she stated that her bones looked to be gradually becoming weaker, with no visible or palpable indications or symptoms. She was over 50, Caucasian, slender, and small-framed, with a family history of the illness. It was nearly a slam dunk. She told Health Day in 2006. Sally did not remain silent about her diagnosis. She used her voice to warn the other women. In an interview with Oprah, she stated, "I'm trying to get the message out to women to ask for a bone density test when they go in for a pap smear." She stated that 1 in every 2 women over the age of 50 will experience an osteoporosis-related fracture, although most people are unaware of how serious the danger is. She later launched the Rally with Sally for Bone Health campaign to educate women about the hazards and encourage them to get checked. In Ability magazine, she stated that people must be made aware of their danger and what they may do to protect themselves. They should get bone density scans at a specific age. Sally could not halt the condition despite eating well, exercising, and getting enough calcium. Osteoporosis is known as the silent illness since it causes no symptoms until it's too late. She kept battling, but her health was only one of several challenges that forced her to stay away from the spotlight. Sally Field, now in her late 70s, has decided to age naturally. She never had cosmetic surgery and never attempted to conceal her wrinkles or gray hair. In 2016, she stated, "I see myself on TV and think, oh, I wish that wasn't happening to my neck. And your face is lowering, and your eyes are swollen." She still believed in self-respect. She advised ladies to embrace themselves for who they are now, rather than chasing after their former appearance. However, not everyone was kind to her. In 2018, she was the focus of internet trolls. Some Twitter users labeled her unattractive and made harsh remarks about her appearance. These cruel statements highlighted the ugly side of social media. It didn't matter that she had spent her life playing powerful characters and advocating for women's health, and some people continued to abuse her for merely becoming older. The actress remained strong. She realized what was really important. After all, she had experienced love, grief, illness, and heartbreak. She had raised children and weathered the highs and lows of Hollywood. That strength is what actually defines her. Even while she remained silent about most of her agony, the public became aware of her fewer appearances and changed lifestyle, which included a quieter existence and less responsibilities. Sally Field was once one of Hollywood's brightest performers. She has appeared in Mrs. Doubtfire, Steel Magnolias, and Forrest Gump. But now things are different. In September 2024, she was spotted walking her dog Dash in Los Angeles. She donned a striped blouse, white capris, and a large sun hat. She appeared modest, casual, and tranquil. However, many admirers were startled. Some people noticed she appeared quite skinny. Some even claimed she looked unrecognizable. She also made a brief comeback to social media. In a post from the same year, she endorsed Kamala Harris and encouraged people to vote. "This is me and my dog, Dash. Buckle up," she wrote. The next day, she stated, "Vote for our country, our children, and grandchildren. I will be your best buddy." Despite her strong stance on social concerns, her film career has halted. Her most recent major film, 80 for Brady, was released in early 2023. Since then, no substantial roles have come her way. She once said that Hollywood does not provide enough parts for elderly women. That lack of opportunities, along with her health difficulties, may explain why she is spending more time at home. She has also spoken honestly about how her children supported her throughout difficult times. according to RadarOnline.com. She reportedly stated that her children saved her life. However, some publications now characterize her as fragile and away from the spotlight. Despite tragic love tales, harsh criticism, health concerns, and fewer roles, Sally Field maintains a positive attitude. She has nothing more to prove. Sally Field had spent her whole life battling quietly, and when she began to tell her story, the world witnessed how strong she truly was, even while she was hurting within. An aircraft disaster might have ended everything. In 1988, Sally Field came dangerously close to death. She, her then-husband, Alan Graceman, and their 11-month-old baby, Sam, were on Merv Griffin's private plane. The worst happened just as they were preparing to leave on their trip. As the plane attempted to take off, it abruptly lost control. It collided with another parked aircraft nearby. Fortunately, no one was murdered. However, it was a scary experience. The plane did not explode, although it was saturated with jet fuel. Everyone on board was covered. Sally subsequently told People magazine that all she was thinking was, "Hold on to Sam. I didn't care if I broke every single bone in my body." She feared she had crushed her baby during the collision, but Sam was okay. It doesn't make logical that the plane did not explode. It doesn't make logic that we are still living. And I have to live with that feeling, she continued. That moment plagued her. It wasn't only about survival. It was about being a mother, a wife, and confronting the prospect of death in a matter of seconds. But that wouldn't be the last time Sally experienced suffering. Her romantic life had its ups and downs, many of which remained hidden for years. A tangled history involving love and men. Sally Field's career was booming during the 1960s and 1970s. So was her dating life. One of the first names associated with her was actor Lee Majors. At the time, they were both rising stars. Though their relationship was not generally verified, a 1972 story stated that they had been together for a while. Majors subsequently hinted at their time together in his song, Unknown Stuntman, which served as the title song for his program, The Fall Guy. In the lyrics, he boasts, "I've been on fire with Sally Field." While it wasn't a full confession, it convinced some that the story was real. Previously, in 1967, Sally dated Pete Duell, who portrayed her brother-in-law on Gidget. Their romance began after the performance concluded. In an interview that year, Sally stated that it was not a significant matter. "We are having fun, guy. Just for fun. And that is really unusual in itself. Why can't they leave it alone?" But their narrative ended tragically. On December 31st, 1971, Pete Duell committed suicide. Years later, Sally revealed how profoundly she cared for him. In a video from 2007, she stated, "I loved Pete. I loved him, adored him, bless him, and God curse him, since he is no longer living." She said that he treated her like a sister, despite her desire for more. In 1968, she also had a brief romance with Davy Jones of the Monkees. They were not exclusive, but Sally claimed they joked and had a good time together. In an old interview, she said, "We always laugh and goof around. However, not everything was fun." Sally subsequently said that several of the Monkees made sexual comments about her while filming The Flying Nun. She also claimed that they even besieged her in her trailer, forcing her to rely on an aide. Her relationships continued over the years, but some of them left scars that she didn't talk about until later. Speaking of which, even after becoming a major star, Sally still faced obstacles behind closed doors. Marriage, motherhood, and moving forward. In 1968, Sally tied the knot with Stephen Craig, the man she had a crush on in high school. They continued to be together during the early years of her success, despite the fact that he was not a Hollywood celebrity and worked in construction industry. During the time that she was working on The Flying Nun, she discovered that she was pregnant with their first child. Peter was born in November of 1969. Eli, the couple's second son, was born in May of 1972. In 1975, they divorced and divorced off. There is not a lot of information available on the circumstances behind their divorce. But many years later, their son Peter shared his thoughts on what it was like to grow up with them. According to him, "I was aware from an early age that my mother was not like other mothers, and that my father was not really anything like other fathers. Both of his parents were regarded as very theatrical, and he stated that growing up with them was an intense experience. At that point in time, Peter had already established himself as a writer and was married to a poet. According to what he stated, "I suppose this is what occurs when you have parents that are theatrical." Subsequently, Sally tied the knot with Alan Griezmann, the individual she was with at the time of the plane disaster in 1988. During the course of that marriage, they welcomed their son, Sam. Each of Sally's relationships was never straightforward. Which brings up another point. Were you aware that she came close to dating Steven Spielberg or not? In the 1970s, Sally Field was not just coming into her own as a celebrity. One of the people who observed her was a young director by the name of Steven Spielberg. She was attracting more and more attention everywhere she went. When Sally was presenting Spielberg with the Vanguard Award at the Palm Springs Film Awards in 2023, she divulged a narrative that taken everyone by surprise. According to her, they came very close to going on a date many years ago. She said that my recently acquired business manager had expressed his desire for me to meet one of his customers because he believed that the two of us would have a great rapport with one another. Despite the fact that the conference was scheduled to take place at Universal Studios, it never really took place. Sally continued by saying that no matter what, my cherished Steven Spielberg has never left my life. Several years later, they collaborated on the film Lincoln, which was released in 2012, in which Sally portrayed the role of Mary Todd Lincoln. Through the years, they maintained a solid bond with one another. In the year 2022, Spielberg himself lauded her, stating that she not only defied the town's tendency to stereotype her, but also broke past every barrier. He was impressed by her audacity, her astute decisions, and her enduring influence on the Hollywood industry. However, despite the fact that Sally and Spielberg never ended up being romantically involved, her subsequent relationship would dominate the news for years and leave her with profound emotional wounds. The tumultuous love with Burt Reynolds. In 1977, Sally Field was working on the set of Smokey and the Bandit when she first met Burt Reynolds. Her performance as Carrie was essential in the beginning of her career in the film industry. In addition to that, it marked the beginning of a lengthy and difficult relationship with Reynolds. Between the late 1970s and the 1980s, they had sporadic romantic encounters. The two even appeared together once again in the 1978 film Hooper. However, their romantic relationship was not a pleasant one behind the scenes. As Sally has stated, Burt could be challenging to deal with. After she was nominated for an Academy Award for her performance in Norma Rae, he declined to accompany her to the ceremony. She recalled that he could not have been a nicer person around me at that time. In spite of this, Sally visited the Academy Awards on her own and ended up winning her very first Oscar. Burt referred to Sally as the one who escaped his grasp and declared that she was the love of his life in the years that followed, right up until the time of his passing in 2018. Nevertheless, Sally did not believe it. She stated that he was not someone she could be around in an interview that she gave to Variety in the year 2022. It's just that he was not beneficial to me in any manner. She was under the impression that Burt was re-evaluating their relationship and making it appear more romantic than it actually occurred. The meaning of love was something that Sally had to re-evaluate on more than one occasion. Additionally, she gained new insights from her previous connections. Some light, some heavy. During the early 1980s, Sally Field had a transient relationship with Kevin Kline. They first became acquainted in 1982, after she had completed shooting Kiss Me Goodbye. Both Kline and Meryl Streep had recently completed their work on the film Sophie's Choice at the same time. Many people believed that they would make an excellent couple. Nevertheless, the connection did not endure. Only a few dates were ever taken by them. Sally's statements from an interview in 1984 provided a hint, despite the fact that very little is known about the actual events that took place between them. "I don't want to play any role unless it's one that I choose to portray on television," she added. "I don't want to play any role." She continued by saying, "I don't want to feel as though I have to obey the rules of anyone else other than my own." A shift in her mentality was demonstrated by that comment. It was no longer acceptable for Sally to be submissive or submit to anybody else. Regardless of whether she was talking about Kline or Burt Reynolds, it was very evident that he had reached the point when he was no longer the one who contributed more. She also went on a couple dates with Johnny Carson about the same time the above statement was made. Unfortunately, that did not work out either. In situations where Sally wanted to put an end to things, she was unable to say no. As a result, she informed Carson that she was experiencing a mental breakdown and that she was being sent on Watch What Happens Live in 2019. She chuckled as she recalled that the only way she could get out of problems was to tell people that she had lost her mind. This was an event that took place many years later. In addition to being a humorous tale, it also demonstrated how hard it had been for her to establish limits. However, this eventually started to alter. 2 marriages, 2 ends. In the beginning, Sally tied the knot with Stephen Craig, the person she had a crush on in high school. In 1968, they tied the knot. The world of Hollywood did not include him in any way. Worked in the building industry, Sally became pregnant with their first child, Peter, who was born in 1969. While they were filming The Flying Nun, Peter was born in 1969. Eli, the couple's second son, was born in the year 1972. 1975 was the year when they divorced, and Sally did not talk much about that chapter in her life. On the other hand, her son Peter once described what it was like to grow up being around them. According to him, I was aware from an early age that my mother was not like other mothers, and that my father was not really anything like other fathers. His parents' dramatic personalities had a significant impact on his development, as he described in an interview that took place in 1998. At a cafe in the early 1980s, Sally began her relationship with Alan Greisman, a film producer. They did not immediately begin dating each other. Something like a year and a half was required. However, once they did, things progressed at a rapid pace. Sam was born to them in 1987, the same year that they tied the knot. Nevertheless, this marriage did not survive either. In 1994, they finalized their divorce. In an interview that took place in 1996, Sally discussed the events that transpired. To go out, to be with other people, or to attend parties was something he desired. It was too much for me to bear, she replied. In addition to experiencing anxiousness, she got the impression that their house had lost its pleasure. As she continued, we concentrated on the bad aspects of each other, rather than recognizing the positives that we cared about in each other. In spite of this, they continued to concentrate on parenting Sam together. A statement made by Kate Capshaw, an actress who was formerly married to Steven Spielberg, was that the couple has a very amicable divorce. Their ability to co-parent is exceptional. Sally did not give up on love, even after she had been married twice and had a number of other high-profile relationships. However, she began to withdraw from the public eye and from being involved in romantic relationships. 1995 was the year when Sally made a significant public appearance with a new person. It was Jerry Knight, who worked as a technician in the film and television industry, who accompanied her to the premiere of Waterworld. Also in the same year, she took him to the Emmy Awards, where they walked the red carpet together, smiling and holding hands with one another, as was the case in the past. However, the connection did not endure. The split was a peaceful affair this time around. Following the conclusion of their relationship, Sally was no longer seen in public with any new companions. While she was focusing on her acting ventures, she was mostly concerned with raising her kid. Due to the fact that there was not much to tell about her romantic life, the press ceased following her. Sally affirmed that she was content with her status as a single person many years later. In the year 2021, she discussed it during an event that was hosted by Live Talks LA. Her statement was that she was thinking about all of her previous relationships and the lessons that she had gained from them. The way that I was trained to perceive what love is and how I would continually hunt for love is something that I am currently analyzing, she revealed. She continued by saying, unless I am also terrified, I do not feel to be seen and loved. Clearly, there is a problem with the expression. Afterward, she smiled and remarked, now I don't even bother to try. Despite the fact that I am content with my current state of being, I truly do not want to pick up your underpants in the morning to begin with. However, there were still those people who had not given up hope that Sally would find love once more. Patriots football player Tom Brady made a joking remark about her when he was working on the film 80 for Brady, which was released in 2023. Additionally, he said, we really enjoyed our time together, so we'll see where it goes from here. He made a joke about the fact that they had a little thing that was captured on video during his show. However, Sally seemed to be certain of one thing, regardless of whether or not anything comes from it. It doesn't matter if she has a partner or not. She is finally content with who she is. Sally Field has worked with a great number of famous people throughout the course of her lengthy career. Nonetheless, the time she spent with Robin Williams was one of the most emotionally moving experiences she has ever experienced. When Robin Williams made his debut in the role, in 1993, when she was working on the film Mrs. Doubtfire. An event occurred that would forever alter the course of her life. Prepared for a scenario that would take place in a courtroom. She was sitting in her camper on the set. Then, she received a call on her phone. Another major stroke had taken the life of her father, who had suffered a stroke many years before and was residing in a nursing facility at the time of his death. In order to save his life, Field was forced to make the difficult choice to remove him from life support. She went back to work and did her best to continue filming despite the fact that she was experiencing a great deal of discomfort. She continued by saying, "I was trying with all my might to act." She did not shed any tears. She did not utter a single word. But Robin Williams was aware that something was not quite right. After gently pulling her away from the crowd, he inquired about what had transpired. After she informed him, he did not show any hesitation. He said, "Oh my God, we have to get you out of here right now at this very moment." Following a conversation with the team, Robin made arrangements for them to continue filming the remainder of the day without Sally. It was possible for her to return home, make a phone call to her brother, and start making preparations for the demise of her father. She said that it was a facet of Robin that almost no one was familiar with, and he had a high level of sensitivity and intuition. 2014 was the year that Robin Williams passed away. After some time had passed, Sally expressed, "I am completely stunned and so sad about Robin. It was always a source of joy for him to be able to make other people laugh, and in every way, he was special. There is not going to be another one." In addition, it seems as though her life has been something of a struggle from the very beginning. A troubled childhood behind the fame. Sally Field was born on November 6, 1946 in Pasadena, California. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress. In addition to serving in the military during World War II, her father, Richard Field, was a pharmacist. Sally was only a youngster when they split in 1950. While they were together, it was in Tijuana, Mexico, in 1952 that her mother tied the knot with Jock Mahoney. A stuntman and actor, he was a performer. One of Sally's brothers, Richard Dryden Field Jr., graduated from college and went on to become a physicist. Her ancestry may be traced back to Sicily with her father's side of the family. Her heritage also included English and Irish backgrounds. From Portola Middle School, Sally continued her education at Birmingham High School, which is located in Van Nuys. Throughout her time at school, she participated in cheerleading. Following their time in school, a few of her classmates went on to achieve fame, including Michael Milken and Michael Ovitz. By 1 year, the actress Cindy Williams had already passed her. However, despite the fact that Sally appeared to be a typical schoolgirl from the outside, things were much different at home. She revealed some of the most traumatic details about her childhood in her memoir, which was published in 2018. She claimed in her writing that she had been molested by her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, when she was a little child. To get her to walk on his back, he would invite her into his room and ask her to do so. After that, he would roll over and touch her while she walked over him by their side. The words, "one foot in front of the other, up his chest," were written by her. "I crept up on him as my nightgown was hanging loosely around my legs. His hands traveled up and then glided over my legs. Despite her best efforts, he would murmur, 'Lower, lower.'" She was unable to avoid his grasp. The situation left her unsure of how to react to it. If he had restrained me and raped me, it would have been a different set of circumstances. However, he did not. Could it have been love? If he loved me, then why did he do that? And she wrote, when she was 14 years old, the abuse ceased, but the memory of it follows her throughout her life. Even after she joined the realm of celebrity, she continued to experience the same suffering throughout her adult life. Rising to fame. There, Sally Field made her debut in the world of television. The television comedy series Gidget, which ran from 1965 to 1966, was where she made her debut in a significant role. The Flying Nun, which she starred in from 1967 to 1970, and The Girl with Something Extra, which she starred in from 1973 to 1974, followed each other after that. The first time she appeared in a film was earlier. In 1962, she had an appearance in the film Moon Pilot as an extra. After that, she went on to star in several films, including The Way West, 1967, Stay Hungry, 1976, Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, Heroes, 1977, The End, 1978, and Hooper, 1978. In 1976, Sally's performance in Sybil marked the beginning of her career as a serious actor. She received the Primetime Emmy Award for her outstanding performance in the television picture, which was a television film. Her performance in Norma Rae earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress for the first time in 1979. In 1984, she was awarded her second Academy Award for her performance in the film Places in the Heart. The accolades demonstrated that she was more than simply a television celebrity. In addition, she has been in a number of well-known films, including Absence of Malice, 1981, Kiss Me Goodbye, 1982, Murphy's Romance, 1985, Steel Magnolias, 1989, Soap Dish, 1991, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, and Forrest Gump, 1994. She made her next appearance on television in the 2000s. In 2001, she was awarded yet another Emmy for her guest starring role on the television show ER. She was nominated for an Emmy for her performance as Nora Walker in the drama series Brothers and Sisters, which she portrayed from 2006 until its conclusion in 2011. The role of Mary Todd Lincoln, which she performed in the film Lincoln 2012, earned her yet another nomination for an Academy Award. Additionally, she performed the role of Aunt May in the films The Amazing Spider-Man 2012 and its sequel 2010. In addition, she worked on the films Hello, My Name is Doris 2015 and 80 for Brady 2023, as well as the series Manic 2018, which was produced by Netflix. And while we're on the subject, did you know that she also performed on stage? During the year 2002, she made her debut on Broadway in the play The Goat or Who is Sylvia? In 2017, she made her return with the play The Glass Menagerie, which earned her a nomination for a Tony Award. 2019 also saw her perform in the West End production of All My Sons in London. Despite the fact that her career was thriving, she remained to be plagued by the anguish of her past, as well as the new challenges that she faced behind the scenes. Sally Field had some painful experiences from her time in Hollywood. Hollywood was not always kind to her. During the year 1968, she recounted in her memoir about the time when she was molested by the songwriter Jimmy Webb. It was after they had smoked together that she fell asleep, and when she awoke, she discovered that he was rubbing against her. She was perplexed and placed the responsibility on herself. The idea occurred to her that perhaps I had gotten this by lying down on his bed. It's possible that I hadn't pushed my jeans through to the top. So, what was he supposed to think? After some time had passed, Jimmy Webb stated that they had a typical relationship, similar to that of many persons in their 20s. Her account of the events was refuted by him. For Sally, however, that moment was genuine, and she was able to remember it for a long time. She also discussed another unsettling encounter that occurred during the audition process for a film. In the year 1976, she was auditioning for the role of Stay Hungry in the film. She stated that the director, Bob Rafelson, had informed her that he would only hire someone who was capable of effectively kissing. Then she gave him a kiss. She went on to write that it must have been satisfactory. This assertion was refuted by Rafelson. In order to acquire a part, he said that he never forced anyone to kiss him. Again, Sally maintained her stance on the matter. It was not uncommon for many young women in Hollywood to go through situations similar to this, but very few of them really discussed them openly. It wasn't until far later in life that Sally did it. The more she disclosed, the more others were able to see the suffering that resulted from her achievement. In addition, there was yet more that she had concealed from others, a secret that she was unable to reveal until a later time. Additionally, Sally Field disclosed yet another sensitive experience from her adolescence, which she had concealed for a considerable amount of time. In 1964, when she was 17 years old, she discovered that she was carrying a child. She was set to begin her first significant part on television, which was going to be in the show Gidget at the moment. During her time in Mexico, her stepfather, who was also the person who had mistreated her, made arrangements for her to get an abortion. During that time period, the United States of America did not permit abortions. It was her mother and a friend of the family that accompanied her. She did not reveal the identity of the boy who was responsible for her pregnancy. However, she did mention that it was someone she had met shortly after she graduated from high school. She did not disclose the encounter to anybody else and continued on with her professional life. In later years, she became vocal in her advocacy for reproductive rights as a result of her experiences. In the year 2022, she gave an interview to Variety in which she discussed the new laws that were restricting the rights of women to have abortions in the United States. She stated that those males who were engaging in such behavior, as well as their predominantly male rulers who were engaging in it, are really backward, quite stupid, and basically simply power-hungry. The way I see it, that's illegal. She was of the opinion that such laws were an attempt to undo the gains that had been accomplished for minority groups, people of color, and the LGBTQ community. What was the most moving moment in Sally Field's life or career for you? And do you believe Hollywood does enough to help elderly icons such as Sally Field? Please share your ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more remarkable stories from Hollywood's rich past. See you next time.